CIA's secret mind control experiments are back in the spotlight.
Of MK Ultra, Project Mind Control.
Mind control research.
They said the government's MK Ultra mind control experiment ended decades ago, that the government stopped meddling with people's thoughts. But what if it never ended? What if the lab was simply replaced by your smartphone? They told us it was over, that the horrors of psychological manipulation had been shut down, buried in the past.
We are not professing to tell you the complete story of these activities.
But today, the same manipulation is happening. Only now it's disguised as technology, optimized as convenience, and delivered through the screens we hold every day. In 1973, a controversial CIA-backed experiment known as MK Ultra was supposedly shut down. But then came Jonestown. In 1978, over 900 people died in what officials claimed was a mass suicide. But some believe it was something far darker. The intense psychological control, the isolation, the drug use, and the behavioral drills led many to believe it was a real-world test, one that unraveled in public. Jim Jones used techniques that looked eerily like government experiments in behavior control. When things spiraled out of control, the response was swift. Autopsies were sealed. Military planes landed within hours. Witnesses were silenced. And just like that, the story was closed. But to many, Jonestown was not the end of a cult. It was the continuation of something far more sinister. The program that came before was focused on controlling the human mind, not just breaking it, but rebuilding it. Compliant, programmable, and unaware of its own manipulation. It used drugs, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, and trauma. Victims were often unwitting. Some didn't survive. And when it was finally exposed, the CIA claimed it had already been stopped. But that's the thing about psychological experiments. They don't need to end. They just need to go deeper underground. Many of the people involved in the original MK Ultra research weren't punished. They were promoted. They moved into universities, private defense labs, and new agencies with fresh names. The experiments continued, under new labels, new budgets, and new justifications. But the goal never changed: influence human thought. In the decades since, reports have surfaced of victims experiencing missing time.
Drug you could give to someone, get them to commit all sorts of unspeakable acts, and they wake up the next day and they don't remember what they've done.
Sudden emotional shifts, implanted phrases, and even personality fragmentation. The strange part? Many of these victims were born after the 1970s. So if the experiment stopped, why are the symptoms still showing up? Some believe the research went black, hidden behind defense shields, outsourced to private firms, or folded into civilian tech under government contracts. The science evolved. The methods became more sophisticated, and the targets expanded. They weren't trying to control individuals anymore. They were trying to shape society. You don't need LSD to change someone's mind anymore. You need a phone, a feed, a few lines of code that know what you like, what you fear, and what you'll do next. It's not traditional mind control, it's behavioral design. But the outcome is the same. Modern platforms are built on the same psychological principles those early CIA-funded projects tested. Social media algorithms, wearable tech, biometric feedback, and emotional surveillance tools are all designed to study your mind and adjust your experience accordingly. In 2007, declassified military documents revealed the Pentagon had been researching non-lethal neurological weapons, tools that could disrupt memory, induce fear, alter behavior. These weren't theories. They were part of active defense planning, and they didn't go away. Organizations like DARPA,
as unsettling as it might be, investigative journalist and author Annie Jacobson has unveiled some more controversial projects you may not like, and it comes from DARPA, or Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency,
have since invested heavily in cognitive warfare. Their projects include narrative steering systems, neuroplasticity training using brain stimulation, and even brain-to-brain communication research. These are not ideas from science fiction. They're funded, documented, and operational. The official language calls them tools for education, training, and defense. But at their core, they do the same thing early behavioral experiments aimed for: manipulate the mind without consent. The difference now is that it's seamless. It's integrated. You're not forced into a lab. You're volunteering your data. You're scrolling, clicking, talking, and the system is learning. Behavior-shaping software is everywhere. It lives in your recommendation feed, your push notifications, your suggested content, and every interaction feeds it, reinforces it, makes it smarter. Think about it. When was the last time a platform showed you something that made you angry, or scared, or persuaded you to change your opinion? These aren't accidents. They're data-driven emotional triggers designed to provoke specific responses. The same tactics once used on individuals in secret rooms are now being scaled across populations. We're being conditioned, rewarded with dopamine hits for conformity, punished with digital silence for deviation. It's not just what you see, it's what you don't see. Algorithms hide alternative viewpoints, bury contradictory narratives, and isolate you in information loops that reinforce a particular version of truth. This isn't just censorship, it's reality engineering. A filtered, curated existence where you only experience what's been pre-selected for you. And the more data you give, the more refined the control becomes. Companies harvesting this data aren't just ad firms. They're military-backed startups, government-funded labs, agencies tied to intelligence operations. The tools they're building were never meant to entertain. They were meant to influence. Even wellness apps and educational games collect biometric responses, track usage patterns, and adjust feedback in real time, training users the same way early MK Ultra experiments trained subjects, through repetition, reinforcement, and isolation. Whistleblowers have warned us, experts have testified, declassified documents have confirmed it, yet the story always stays the same: deny, deflect, distract. But the patterns don't lie. When you start recognizing the emotional manipulation in your feed, the subtle shifts in opinion you can't explain, the internal conflicts triggered by what you consume, that's when you start to see it. This is the new lab, the new control group. The modern version of those psychological experiments isn't hooked up to wires. It's hooked into your routines. They called the original CIA mind control project a failure, but it wasn't. It was proof of concept. And today, that concept is running at scale, with better tools, more data, and fewer limits. Every time you open an app, you're stepping into a behavioral modification chamber. Every scroll is a test. Every click, a feedback loop. Every silence, a signal. You're not being held down. You're being led, coaxed, nudged, until the lines between choice and conditioning disappear, until you can't tell what thoughts were yours and what ones were placed there. So the next time you feel an emotion rise suddenly, a fear, a conviction, a memory, ask yourself, where did that come from? Was it really yours? Or was it designed? Because this is no longer a theory. It's real, it's funded, and it's operating in plain sight. You can't opt out. You can only wake up, observe, question, share. Because once you see the system, you can start resisting it. Do you still think the mind control program ended in the 70s? Or are you beginning to see the truth? It never ended. It upgraded. Let us know what you've noticed, what you've felt, and what you believe. Because awareness is the first step in breaking the cycle. And if they can rewrite reality without us noticing, we have to ask, what else have they already changed?